Hey, today we're going to talk about something that every meditator and every person on the path of this self-discovery they encounter. This is this inevitable return to our conditioned states over and over again. We will keep coming back to the familiar patterns of our minds, our habits, our biases, prejudices over and over again. But with each return, we see it's not a setback. It's a way to bring just a little more awareness and a little more space to each visit. So let's start by understanding what I mean by conditioned states. When we talk about conditioning, we are talking about the invisible structures of mind and behavior that we inherited and learned through our families, societies, our experiences, and often through these painful or even traumatic events. So these are our mental habits, the emotional reactions that seem reflexive or automatic, and the prejudices and biases that creep into our thinking without us really noticing it. So they form the baseline of who we think we are. They are the stories and the assumptions that drive our actions without our full awareness. So for many people, the idea of breaking free from these patterns sounds really empowering. And it is, but it also is a process that requires immense patience and compassion. Why? It's because, here's the truth here, we just don't wake up one day and leave all these patterns behind. We return to them again and again and again. And each time we return, we bring a little more space. We bring a little bit more awareness into that world of ourselves. This is why meditation is so transformative, but also why it can feel overwhelming. So when we sit in silence, bringing our attention back to the breath, or resting in this simple awareness, we create space. And in that space, things that we once suppressed, things that we numbed with addictions and distractions, drama, or even with healthy pursuits, they begin to rise to the surface. So this is why after a few weeks or months of meditation, people often say they feel overwhelmed. They're not seeing anything new. They've seen what's always been there, right? That's what they're seeing, and it's buried beneath the noise of this daily life. So think about it. If you've lived with certain habits or thoughts for years or decades, your awareness has really grown accustomed to them, blending them into the background, right? So with meditation, though, as you cultivate a more calm and more reflective sense of self, you start noticing all of this. Every resentment, every fear, every unhealed wound, it starts to reveal itself to the developing witness within, and the part of you that is clear, calm, eternal. So we could call this space the abdomen. This is the true self, the inner witness that simply observes without judgment, that can hold all this with a sense of spaciousness. And it's normal to feel confused at this stage. Absolutely. Meditation brings us closer to our true nature, of course, but it also brings us closer to our conditioned self, to those parts of ourselves that we once looked away from. So this is the paradox of meditation. It expands our consciousness, but it also confronts us with everything that has been hidden within that consciousness. So some people might ask, why do we need to keep returning to these conditioned states? Why can't we just leave them behind? So the answer lies in the nature of awareness itself. So this true awareness, the Atman, it doesn't reject or exclude. It doesn't cut off or sever parts of us, but instead it holds all of our experiences, past, present, pleasant, painful, right? All of them. So as we return to our conditioning here, we're not just repeating old patterns, we're integrating them into a broader and wiser awareness. And here's where the process speeds up. With each meditation, with each moment of mindfulness, we bring a little more awareness to the patterns. And as we bring awareness, we create space. And in this space, we aren't automatically reacting to every old trigger. We can see our habits clearly and feel the emotions fully, yet not be overwhelmed or overtaken by them. So instead of blindly following the same old scripts, we now have a choice to reflect, to question, to observe. So this process of integration, of dissolving patterns into that light of awareness, we could say, it can be really messy. It can feel like a storm. So as old behaviors, beliefs, and assumptions dissolve, they don't go quietly. Sometimes they resist, they fight back, they even flare up more intensely before they finally dissolve. And this can leave us feeling raw, disoriented, even discouraged. This is why it's crucial to remember that this is normal. It's not a sign that something has gone wrong or that you're failing. It's a sign that your awareness is deepening, that you're touching those layers that were once hidden within yourself. You're not regressing when old patterns reappear. You're revisiting them with a new awareness, with more space, with a greater capacity to hold them without being overwhelmed. And we don't need to do this alone. It's actually essential that we don't do it alone. This journey, it calls for support, for guidance, for companionship. Meditation reveals to us the parts of ourselves that we've kept in shadow. But it's in the light of community, friendship, and guidance that we can truly integrate what we are uncovering. So speaking with those who understand this, who can help us see clearly and offer perspective, it softens the intensity of these experiences. So whether it's a teacher, a friend, a counselor, or even a like-minded community, we need others to help us remember that we aren't in this alone. So if you feel overwhelmed in your meditation practice, if you feel as though everything you've hidden away is just suddenly rising to the surface, just know that it's part of this process. You're not seeing anything that wasn't already there. You're just finally seeing it clearly. This is progress. This is healing. So each time you sit, you bring a little more awareness, a little more space. Each time you return to these patterns, you bring with you a new capacity to hold them with compassion and understanding. And in this way, the Atman, your true self. It becomes both a witness and a healer, and it brings light to every dark corner and integrating every fragmented part into a whole. Just remember, we're not here to transcend the human experience by escaping it. We're here to expand our awareness so fully that we include all of it. Our conditioning, our patterns, our biases, our deepest shadows, within a vast, spacious, and compassionate awareness. We are here to become whole. So, as you walk this kind of path, know that every return to your conditioned self is an opportunity, it's a gift, an invitation to deepen your awareness and expand your capacity for love and understanding. So this is the journey, right? One step, one breath, one moment of awareness at a time. And in this journey, you're not alone, right? We walk it together as these kinds of seekers, as witnesses, as the timeless awareness, looking through each of